Hi there everyone, Gary here at Vinyl Kick. Lovely afternoon here in the west coast of Scotland. Sun's come out, rains went off, can't ask for any more than that. So, without further ado, today I thought I would start going through my Clash collection with you, and I thought today I would keep it incredibly simple and just go with their first six studio albums. Sorry, I only had 6 studio albums. And then in further videos I'll get into maybe the 7-inch singles, some imports and some different things. So today I'll just nip through the 1 to 6 for the first album right to the last one. They're not all the mainstream UK first releases, some of them are a wee bit different. I do have all of them as well. I've got various copies of their first 6 albums apart from the Sandinista and the last album, Cut the Crap. I've only got the original copies of each of them. I don't have any imports or coloured vinyls or anything. So I thought I would just go through their first sets, keep it nice and simple. So why the Clash, you may ask? Well, if anybody's watched my opening video, my opening vinyl community, my introduction to the vinyl community, I say quite clearly that the Clash were the band for me the first time I heard them. They just blew me away. At 77, 78, I had been quite happy listening to what was ever on the radio, you know, your ABBAs and your The Darts and Boney M and stuff like that, until I heard these guys, and then that was a game changer for me. It totally influenced the music I would listen to for the rest of my life, and got me into punk in general. I did like a lot of the other first wave punk bands as well, and second wave punk bands, and alternative music right up to this day. I very rarely listen to chart stuff, it doesn't really do it for me, but this sort of stuff does. So I've got the Clash to thank for that. They certainly pushed me in my music, in the direction of this musical journey, and listening to this type of music from then, from 1977, 78 to the present day, where I still seek out new music, something that's a little bit different, maybe somebody trying to do something a wee bit different. And I always like bands that have got that punk ethos. As I've said before, what is punk? Well, it could be an attitude, isn't it? It doesn't need to be one specific thing. It could be more than that. So, without further ado, we'll kick off with numero uno, number 1. Debut album, The Clash. That was it. And I'm sure you guys will know out there. If you don't, I'll tell you anyway. The blue cover's a Canadian cover. This is a Canadian issue. This isn't the original 77 Canadian issue with the free 7-inch. I've got that as well, but I thought we'd show you this one. This one's a wee bit different. This one was a re-release in 1979. Now, it comes in an orange vinyl, still in the Epic label, but it's a sort of split orange vinyl. It's like, you know, various different shades of orange in the wax. It's really nice, actually. Now, there's a wee bit of dubiety about this. I did know someone who was a massive Clash fan, and had all sorts of Clash records, vinyl, very rare stuff, Clash memorabilia, one of Mick Jones's guitars and stuff like that. And I spoke to him about this being an orange vinyl, and he said he thought there was an original release before they released it in red vinyl in 1979. I think in Canada, and Discogs have picked that up. If you the codes in the dead wax here, if you put them into Discogs, it brings up the red vinyl one. It's like a bright red lettered box, pillared box style, red, colour of red, really bright red. But this one isn't. He thought, what this chap told me, he reckoned that he had some knowledge of this, and he reckoned that there was the original press was this orange, then they stopped it and they re-released it in the red. So I don't know any much more about it than that, other than what he could tell me. But yeah, like the original, it's the tracks, it's very different track listings from the British, the UK press release. The good thing about it is I Fought the Law, it was one of my favourite songs, but it's a great album. This is a typical, this is a classic punk rock album. It's up there with, you know, people, I know you could say that the classic punk album was Nevermind the Bollocks, the only really good record the Sex Pistols done, with the original Pistols lineup of Matt Lock and Lydon and Cooke and Jones. I mean, that was the Sex Pistols. Anything they done after that, especially once Matt Lock left and once Lydon left, they were rubbish, absolute rubbish. But this is up there, definitely. To me, I actually prefer this. I love Nevermind the Bollocks, but I prefer this, and that's me being totally and utterly biased, I will admit that. I do have several different copies of this. I've got the original UK, I've got it in various different colours, I've got the 2 Canadian copies of it. but it's still a great album to listen to this day, and some of the songs are incredibly relevant as well. To this day, when you look at what's going on in the world at the moment, and if some of Strummer's lyrics sometimes will be hard to make out or even work out, but you know, some of the stuff is certainly relevant today. And this wasn't the first. This wasn't the first. No, not this one, but this first album wasn't the first Clash album I owned. Actually, the next one I'm going to show you was the first one I actually went and bought. Then I bought the first album after that. But what a debut album! That great photo taken in Camden there. Topper was in the band this time, but for whatever reason he wasn't in this photograph. So yeah, absolute cracking photo, and they look every bit the punk rock stars that they went on to be. So that takes us to album number 2. Give 'Em Enough Rope. And this is my favourite Clash album of all time. In fact, it's probably my favourite album of all time. It's up there with Aladdin's Sane, I think, for me. It's an absolute phenomenal album. This is a Dutch first press from 1978. It's still on the CBS Sunburst label. And the tracks are no different for the UK first press at all on this album. The only difference is in the track listings in the back, when it goes to side B, instead of all the young punks, that's no way to spend your youth, they've called it. And then it says C record label for track sequencing. These are all mixed up. See if your reading's correct, but it's all mixed up. You've got to go to the label to see exactly what the tracks are. So that's the only difference from the UK is the way they've typed out the track listings in the back. But as I said, this, I mean, again, another iconic cover, just like the first album. What a great cover. First album was excellent plus. This second album, my favourite album of all time. And it also has my favourite song of all time on it, Stay Free. That is not only my favourite Clash song, but it's my favourite song of all time. That will be played at my funeral. There'll be no doubt about that. So the second album, 1978, Dutch first pressing. I've got one other copy of this, which is a UK original first pressing as well, and absolute phenomenal album, classic cover. On to album number 3, and this one needs no introduction, but this is a good one to show you because there's some different things with it. London Calling. Now, people that just maybe like music, maybe don't particularly follow one band or one they particularly into the Clash, will have this record. I know loads of people have got this record in their collection, London Calling's in their collection. It is an outstanding album. This was them starting to move away from this more punk sound and softening a wee bit and trying out different things, but a bit more experimental, and it sure as hell worked. And this to me is another excellent, like the first two, you can only describe it as excellent. It's got an iconic cover, and I think it's Penny Smith taking the photograph. Absolute iconic cover. Everybody knows this picture. It's with certain albums, everybody knows the picture. You could take the London Calling, the Clash off it, you just show a picture like, what is that? And most people are into music would know, a high percentage I would say would know. So yeah, classic tracks in this. Don't need to get through them that much, obviously. But on it, I'd say, you know, side 4. I think for a double album, side 4 to be as good as it is with the songs that are on that, sort of sums up the strength of this album. Never mind sides 1, 2, and 3, but side 4, you know, the songs in that are phenomenal. And this is a Japanese press, and now unfortunately, I don't have the Obi at all. God knows what happened to this. The Obi on this, it didn't come with it when I got it off a chap. The chap I mentioned here was a massive Clash fan. They didn't have the Obi, but he was good enough to let me have this for a very, very good price. So it comes in a, you know, Japanese typical cellophane little sleeve, and it's in the Sony CBS label, printed in Tokyo. And it's all Japanese pressings. My goodness, it sounds great. It does have the inner sleeves with it. They're separate. They just come separate. They're just popped in. They're not in great nick. They're a wee bit beaten up, but they're there. That's the main thing. The record plays fine. It's in really, really good condition. Both records are in really good condition. They play great. There's not a pop or a scratch or anything on them. Doesn't jump or anything. But their inside sleeves are a wee bit. Yeah, they're a wee bit dog-eared, worse for wear. The sleeve is good enough condition. It's fine. But the main bonus with this album is, and it came, so it's seemingly when they were released in Japan, for a limited amount of them, you got a free poster, and it's basically just advertising the album. And it's the irony of the poster is that it's that when they were selling it in Japan, they were saying you can buy 2 for a £5. I don't know how that went down with the Japanese public, or even if I understood what that meant. But yeah, that was this is an advertising poster that came with a very limited edition, first run in Japan. And as I said, it's a wee bit beaten up. It's been up in the chap's wall that I got it from. And he was looking after 2 copies of this. And none of them had the Obi, by the way. The other one he had as well didn't have the Obi either, for some reason. Both had the poster. And for a good price, he sold me well, a really good price. He was really kind to me. So there you go, something a wee bit different with London Calling. The Clash's third album, what an album it was. As I said, side 4, Lovers Rock, Force Horsemen, I'm Not Down in Revolution Rock. Absolutely phenomenal. 4 unbelievable tracks for side 4, a double album. London Calling, album number 3, it goes in the exceptional category along with the first album and the second album. On to album number 4, and this is one that really divides people and the critics at the time. I've got a few cuttings from, or I did have a few cuttings from the likes of NME and Sounds and Melody Maker, and the critics, or the music critics, some were saying it was great, some were saying it's absolutely dreadful, it should never have been a triple album. I agree with that, I don't think it should ever be a triple album. But anyway, it was, and this was Sandinista, and had a great cover as well. Now this is just the UK first press, there's nothing different about this. The only thing slightly different, slightly odd, was it came with, for some reason, 2 copies of Anne McGiddy Times. For some reason that album had two copies of that in it. I don't know why, but it did. UK first press, from 1980 I'm sure. Triple album. The story behind it, certainly the reason they wanted to do a triple album is because there was a wee bit of needle between the Clash and the Rolling Stones at the time, and the Rolling Stones put out a double album, and the Clash thought, right, okay, we'll put out a triple album then, we're going to go one better, and they did. But it's got a lot of filler in it. It's got, you know, Mensforth, you know, you could get 10, or maybe you could get definitely 10 really strong tracks off this that have made it an exceptional and excellent single album. You could maybe have got another half a dozen to 8 that would have made it a really good double album. Other than that, bloody hell, man. I mean, come on. Mensforth Hill, side 5, track 3. It was supposed to be a theme tune to an upcoming television series. Career opportunities, the second last track, side 6, with kids singing it. There's also, and I can't remember what song it is, but there's a song on it that it's Timing Dog, who was a guy that taught Strummer to play guitar. He sings one of the songs on it, and it's like him, it's like a ukulele or something. It's not very good. One More Time, which is a decent song, but then they do this track 6, One More Dub. That could easily just have been one song that could have flowed into it, you know, for a longer version. Yeah, so there's some absolutely amazing tracks on it. I mean, Police on My Back, what an absolute great song. Magnificent Seven, Hitsville, even the leader's a great song. Charlie Don't Surf, always thought that was a cracking song as well. So yeah, absolutely bizarre that they put out a triple album because the Rolling Stones put out a double album. But still, it's the Clash. It's a great cover. For me, it's much better than anything the Rolling Stones would ever have done. So, as far as the Clash were concerned, and as far as I'm concerned as a Clash fan, you can get it right up your Rolling Stones. Clash's 4th album, Sandinista. Good to very good. Not quite in the excellent category in the first 3. Okay, number 5. Combat Rock. This... When the music journalists or critics were reviewing this, they said this was a comeback album, which is kind of bizarre because where they came back from, they hadn't been anywhere to come back. But I think Sandinista provoked that many different reactions and quite a few negative reactions. I think they thought they were back in track in that with this one. I mean, on Combat Rock, side 1, I mean, again, you could say to somebody, name 4 Clash songs, like somebody that maybe doesn't know much, but name 4 Clash songs if you could, and they would name London Calling, they would also name Rock the Casbah. That was their kind of big, you know, that was their most successful, most commercial hit along with London Calling. I say, Should I Stay or Should I Go was 2, because I believe it was used in an advert. and also you had the third single off it, Know Your Rights. But the A side in this, for me, it's very strong. The A side, the B side starts to fade a bit, and I don't know that maybe if this is where they were starting to kind of sort. They knew they were splitting up. They knew Mick Jones was leaving, and they were just flagging stuff together because, like the song number 3, track 3, side 2, Sean Flynn. What is that about? 6, Death is a Star as well. You know, they're no great. It starts with Overpowered by Funk, which I think is really good. But you could see that was maybe more the direction Mick Jones was maybe starting to move in. But you could see where maybe they were going, or how the bands were separating, or how Stummer and Jones were separating and trying to do different things. Some of it works really well on the album, but there's a couple of tracks that are just, to me, they're not very good at all, and they let the album down a wee bit disappointed with them. So for me, again, it's certainly not as good as the first 3 albums for me. I think it's a very, very good album. I say the first side's excellent, second side's very good, so you can't quite get an excellent album out of that, but still, it's a really good album, well worth a listen. Iconic cover, of course. They were still in CBS at this time as well. Obviously they're a money spinner, the Clash, they still sold records, so CBS had kept them at this time. And it's a classic front cover. Now, as you'll know, I'm sure you do know, that this original pressing came with the poster of the 4 band members sitting at a table, trying to open this out here without ripping it, sitting at the table, just going over that, playing, smoking, drinking. You can see most of it. You get the idea anyway. So that was a poster that came with it. So, and there was still a local record shop in my town at this point. One was left, and they had a display of these, and they had this poster above it, and it's just basically the poster of the album cover. If you can see it there, you get the picture. Exactly the same as the front of the album. And I asked the chap to keep it for me, and thankfully he did. I bought this. I don't know if I bought it the day it came out. Certainly got it the week it came out. It could well have been the day it came out. I could have done things that way. If something was coming out, I'd have went and queued up and got it the day it came out. And I was, I was well known in the record shop. And the guy thankfully kept my poster for me because it's a nice wee bit of Clash memorabilia. It's getting harder and harder to get decent Clash memorabilia. There's a lot of reprints or reproductions of stuff out now. Especially, people reproducing are doing reproduction of concert tickets as well, badges, stuff like that. But the originals, the prices shot up. Original concert tickets, Clash concert tickets, badges, patches, posters, stick whatever. They seem to be climbing in value, or increasing in value. So it's always good to have, obviously the poster within London Calling from Japan, and the extra poster that I've got here within Combat Rock. So a lovely thing to have. So that was album number 5, Combat Rock. I thoroughly enjoyed Combat Rock, but I thought that was it for the Clash when Jones left. I honestly did. I didn't anticipate for 1 minute they would come back. Stummer and Simon would come back with the 6th album, Cut the Crap. I think the clue's in the title there. It's still in CBS because obviously there was still a money spinner. They get rid of one guitarist and they brought in 2 others. Topper Headon had personal issues, so he had left just before. I'm not sure if he actually played this album or if it was the other drummer. The other drummer had certainly toured with him. He'd get pulled into the tour when Topper had sort of hit the buffers. But this, for the 6th album, Cut the Crap, goodness knows, but again, it's even the front cover's not that great. The back cover's good with the picture. I like that photograph, I like the way they're posing. I think that's really quite cool. There's a bigger version of there in the inside. The tracks, The Dictator side 1, track 1 side 1 is decent. Dirty Punk for me is they're trying to get back to the sort of the sound of the first album a bit. This is England with the sort of kind of football crowd, the football chant behind it. I don't particularly like it that much. Finger Popping was good. That reminded me maybe some of the stuff that could have been on Sandinista. I did like that track, Finger Popping. It's not bad. It's not a bad album, but it's my least favourite Clash album. It's okay, and I don't know whether someone Simon thought we maybe need to try to get back to basics here, but they weren't sure where to get back to. Do we go back to our first album? Do we do that sound? Do we go to Give Them Enough Rope? Do we go to London Calling? Do we go to Sandinista? I think what they've done is they've produced tracks, or tried to produce tracks, but they've fit it in any of those first 4 albums. without really much success. This came out at the same time, around about the same. In fact, I think they're releasing the same week as Big Audio Dynamite's first album, Mick Jones's new band that he did, Mick Jones and Don Letts. And that album, for anybody that's heard the first Big Audio Dynamite album, that blows this out the water. That first Big Audio Dynamite album is amazing. This is Big Audio Dynamite, I think it's called. What an amazing album it is. This, unfortunately, isn't amazing. It's okay, and it was to prove to be the last album before Strummer just totally chucked it. And Strummer's own stuff, whether it was just Joe Strummer or Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, was much, much better than anything on this at all. So there you go, The Clash. I kept it simple with their first 6 studio albums. I've got loads more. I'll do some 7-inch vinyl next time, and I've got a load of rare collectible and imports and just different stuff that I'll do as well. But that's the start, that's introduction to The Clash. Vinyl Kick and The Clash, the albums, the only band that matters. Stay free.